Am I the butthole for calling my mother a racist bitch and disregarding the punishment she gave me? My 17F mother, 35F, has always been racist, and she doesn't hide it either. She makes comments about African Americans being ugly, but the race she has the most prejudice towards is anyone who is Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc. She generalizes the way they speak and mocks them. She says they're all ugly, makes comments about how they shouldn't drive because they can't see properly, etc. I've heard this all throughout my life from her, and every time I've wanted to call her out but was afraid of what she'd say because all my life she's been a ticking time bomb, and then most of the time I'm too exhausted to deal with her constantly going on a rampage of saying cruel things and then playing the victim after it all. This time in particular, however, I was watching a silent voice beautiful anime movie. By the way, it brought me to tears. One of the scenes showing how Shuko speaks aloud was on while my mom was in the room, and of course as per routine she made a stupid comment basically stating that she's surprised anyone batted an eye at how she talks given that it's supposedly as unintelligible as any other Asian. I spoke up and said, "Oh crap, I forgot I can't watch what I enjoy without you trying too hard to make us laugh," with an unfunny racist comment. She said, "Excuse me?" To which I replied that I was pretty sure she heard me, and then she asked me what it was like to have a fetish for Asian people. So I said, "What's it like to have such a bland personality that being a racist bitch is your main trait?" She blew up and told me I had no right to speak to her that way because she was my mother. Basically I shrugged and I said that I'm treating her as I would any prejudiced person. I was grounded for being disrespectful because apparently being racist is nothing but an opinion/s. Pretty much the same hour I walked out of the house and announced that I was sleeping over at a friend's house because there's no way I was going to serve a punishment for calling out a racist. I'm getting mixed reactions. Some say I was fully in the right and didn't need to change a thing, others say while I was in the right I should have just taken the punishment because I knew what the outcome would be. Am I the butthole here, Reddit? NTA. As a Japanese person, I am utterly disgusted by her racism. It is also beyond me how an anime movie has anything to do with a fetish for Asian people. Especially that one because it discusses some very deep issues and is fantastic. Same. Love a silent voice. That's a top movie for me. Allow me to shed some light on how they could be connected. If a person has a fetish for Asian people, and they're extremely ashamed of it, they may do or say anything they can to hide it from everyone they know. Especially when something reminds them of it. They may even project their fetish on others, such as accuse someone else of having said fetish simply because they were reminded of their own fetish. Dude, as a fellow Japanese lady, I'm so effing tired of it too. Oh, he's got a crush on you? Must have yellow fever blah blah, everybody can F off. I believe what the mother meant was original post being a weeaboo, in which it is defined as a fetish. Mother is very racist and crazy. NTA. I'm sure she has no idea what that is. It's like a racist calling anyone who stands up for black people an N-word lover. NTA, but you must understand consequences. I went toe-to-toe with my dad on a daily basis. There were literal fist fights. He had a half-Mexican, openly pansexual daughter who was a survivor of child abuse, and he crap on everything I was with regularity. He was absolutely in the wrong. I haven't spoken to him more than once or twice this last decade. In fact, I told him that the next time I see him is when we're lowering him into the ground. But your ideals will not feed, clothe, nor house you. The day I walked out of my dad's house, I knew I'd rather live on the streets than spend another moment under that hateful man's roof. And I did. I wound up homeless for almost 4 months as an 18-year-old woman. It took me nearly 6 years to claw my way out of absolute poverty thereafter. I'm not telling you to be fine with what she says and who she is. I'm saying if you push her buttons, she has the power to upend your entire world and slap you with a dose of reality that'll mess you up for years. Be prepared to suffer the consequences for biting the hand that feeds you. Edit. Oh wow. Thanks for so many messages, comments, and awards. I'll try to get back to everyone, but thank you all for the messages of encouragement. Yes, I have gotten to a much better place in life since leaving. This is a really smart, and real, point of view. Sometimes, if you can't change someone's mind, there's really no point in arguing with them. The corollary, and what I always tell young people in cases of my family will cut me off if I Come out / vote this way / date this person they're bigoted against / don't let their evil bullcrap dictate my life in general, is that there is no shame in lying to people like this if that's what it takes to secure your future. If they have a certain amount of support they're able or prepared to give you, whether it's tuition, their will, or just a roof over your head, that a minor child is entitled to by law, the moment they make any of that contingent on you subscribing to their hateful bullcrap, they lose the right to your honesty or respect, but you shouldn't lose access to resources that would be yours if you had decent people as parents. This gets complicated if they're asking you to do something with tangible consequences that you can't lie your way out of, like not marry someone or disown a gay friend or stand silently by while they go out of their way to harm someone. But if it's just a matter of lying, lie unabashedly. F these people, they don't deserve whatever it is they're holding over your head. And if you can't live with yourself for doing it, scream your beliefs at them from a safe distance the second you've secured the bag. But if it's just a matter of lying, lie unabashedly. F these people, they don't deserve whatever it is they're holding over your head. And if you can't live with yourself for doing it, scream your beliefs at them from a safe distance the second you've secured the bag. If I could give you an award for this, I would. If I could, I would too. Both of you take my upvote. r/consensual upvote, Reddit link. This is why I don't react to what my father says. We have different political views, and as much as I hate listening to him preach about his views, I only stay silent because I know I don't have enough money to move out. Though I don't think he'll kick me out of the house until I get a stable job. I had two very racist grandmothers. One hated black people to the point she called a 14-year-old the N-word to his face. The other hated Japanese people. I had nothing to do with the grandma N-word after I turned 16, because my mom could not force me on a plane. My step-grandmother, the Asian racist, was around me far more often. I didn't talk to her unless I had to, and most of the time my dad told me to suck it up, because she was paying for my private school. When I got into college and she had moved away, it exploded out of control, and I told her exactly how small-minded, bigoted, and horrible I thought she was. I told her exactly what kind of hypocrite she was because she was from Germany. And they also entered into the same war as Japan. It ended with us having no relationship and I was written out of the will. But F her. That must have felt good, finally being able to say it. And that's okay if you're out her will, but it would have been nice to just take away that money and spend it on grassroots organizations that help out people of color. She plans to be cremated. I would have loved to throw some of her ashes onto Mount Fuji. Make her ghost pissed off. I would love to see her ghost get pissed her ashes are in Japan. It's not worth playing the will game with people like this. I have some very cruel grandparents that my parents went NC with. We won't get any inheritance from her, and good riddance. She has 4 other children she plays against each other. 4 families backstabbing / manipulating each other for Gron's inheritance, and she relishes every second of the power. Lying and taking the resources is also a great form of subtle revenge in my opinion. Yeah, it's a nice F you and all you stand for. Watch me use your money to fund my own life without what you stand for. Let me live my own life how I want on your resources. Yup, your money, whatever, is going to the exact opposite of what you believe. F them. Blood relation doesn't distinguish between who's in butthole and who isn't. Sure, Grandma. Go ahead and chat and whatever. I'll listen. But I won't hear you because I'm intelligent, empathetic, and evolved enough to know that you're a dumb racist bitch. And I'll use everything you give me in ways that promote the exact opposite of your beliefs. Watch me rise above your ignorance and pettiness. Slay. All day. Edit, be an actor. Disassociate, on purpose and knowingly, you can play the part until you're free. You're not lying. You're playing a role to survive and get what you are entitled to if you had decent parents. As another commenter said above. Yes. Exactly this. This is how I survived my family of origin until I was able to escape. You got to do what you got to do to survive. People who haven't been there don't get to judge. The day I realized that my dad finally had no control / power / opinion over my life anymore, I felt like Sarah at the end of Labyrinth. You have no power over me. Oh my gosh, yes. You two have put into words what I always try to when I see posts like these. Hope Original posts these your posts. Highly agree to this. My mother is also quite the restrictive, close-minded type, so I've had to lie about most of my university life to make sure she continued to support me financially through university, about everything from love life down to dietary restrictions, with which I grew up with, but no longer choose to follow. It's been effing hard at times to keep it all to myself. The payoff is worth it. Yup. Agreed. Survival can be ugly, but do what you need to do to survive. Secure your future, make sure you have a place to go and ability to leave. Plan. Get friends and trusted people involved, and once everything is place, GTFO. No contact and tell the bastards to go F themselves. Benefiting from privilege is not endorsing that privilege nor the source of it. F anyone who would give you grief over it. I concur. Took me a long time to unlearn conditioning from my narcissistic dad. He is the sole breadwinner in my family, so he chooses to exert control financially and abusively. I've wanted to call him out for his crap, and the few instances that I did, I was kicked out of the house for a night or two, my wallet, house keys and phone confiscated. And as a woman, it's dangerous to roam around at night in my country. Now I'm on the opposite side of the planet, and I'm bleeding his money dry. So are my mom and my sister. F narcissistic parents, but only when you become ineffable. I struggle with this a lot. I feel a sense of guilt for letting my parents pay for my school, and simultaneously imagining a life without my mother. It's important to pick and choose your battles. Original post is not the butthole, but I fear for their safety, considering I have a parent like this. This exactly. Hard for me not to get behind anyone who stands up to a bigot? However, there is a price, and it can be pretty steep. I have lost friends and jobs and opportunities over this, and while I don't regret it, I wouldn't fault anyone who needed to protect their safety or their livelihood. It hurt, but I could afford to walk away. Not everyone can. Absolutely plan to leave as soon as you are able. Unfortunately, biting your tongue until you swallow blood may be what makes that sooner than if you stood up to her. You don't want her to punish you by keeping you from working or doing things that will get you into college or get you scholarships. You already know that there is nothing that you can say to her that will change her. But things that you say to her may make it harder for you to get out sooner. Once you're out, you can make her hateful words have the consequence of not having contact with you, anyway. And it will keep her from passing this awful behavior on to any kids you may have. Oh man, this is exactly what I think when people think of coming out to their parents who are homophobic or atheist kids with super religious parents. You shouldn't have to hide your true self, but life will be way easier if you keep this lie up a few more years. Those people are not the butthole, and original post is NT in either way. Just take the emotion out of it and make the best decision for you. Bite the bullet, and once you don't need, they cut contact. Yeah, this matches my first thought. You're NTA, but you're also not in a position to win this argument. Yes. Be smart and work up a solid foundation for yourself, after which you'll be free to rid your life of this bitch without shooting yourself in the foot. I always say I'd rather be homeless than move back in with my mom, and I'd rather kill myself than move in with my dad. People don't realize how dead serious I am until I tell them I was homeless, and I would happily return to being so if my other option was one of my parents. I went toe-to-toe with my dad on a regular basis, and we haven't spoken since I was 17. I make nice with my mom over text because more trouble for my siblings if I didn't, and I actually love them. But I don't go home to visit. It's 100% fine to lie to protect yourself from unsafe people. It's nice to stand up for yourself and your ideals, but you got to weigh your safety versus your ideals and make that call yourself. Absolutely agree. My father is horribly racist, it does my head in, but fighting means being cut out of the will. I went hard on my mother and she threatened to cut me out. She died and voila. My siblings all got $20,000 and I got nothing, and she died racist, even harassing the Asian and black nurses in palliative care, so my efforts wasted. I can try educate my father, but he is literally too far gone. I feel sick spending time with him, but will take the house when he goes, and I hope he has plenty of kind non-white Anglo nurses doing his care too. Sometimes money is important, even though we want a world where racist people are gone. Exactly this. Original post is absolutely not in butthole. But she likely shouldn't be talking to her mom that way. There's ways of calling out her racism that will achieve the same effect and maybe even be more constructive. Mom, why do you have to be so offensive all the time? Honestly, here I am enjoying something and you are making overtly racist comments which you know are going to offend me. I genuinely enjoy these programs, and you as my mother should be encouraging me to find what makes me happy. Your comments have the opposite effect, and frankly even you must know that they are super negative. That's more articulate than it would likely come out, but talking to someone about how their comments hurt you is generally more effective than yelling at them and forcing them to retreat into a corner. Yay! Fight with your parents, but don't make it so bad to ruin your own upbringing. You got to wait until you're older to really make them change. And if they don't change, you still need to be older to twist the knife when it screws them over. I did it in my teens. I spent my entire older teenage years grounded with no door on my bedroom, spending most evenings face down on my desk fighting forced homework time. It helped nobody. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.